So welcome everyone to today's session from the Credo InfoLit learning community. We have a series of guest speakers and today will be our first. Before we officially begin with our special guest speaker, I would like to introduce you to Amanda Di Federici. She is from Credo and she is here today to tell you a little bit about her work related to the Credo InfoLit modules and share a little bit about the InfoLit learning community and this series. So go ahead, Amanda.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our very first webinar in the InfoLit learning community. My name is Amanda Di Federici. I am the product manager for the InfoLit modules. I joined Credo several years ago as an instructional librarian, and before that I was working in academic libraries, wearing a lot of different hats, but always focusing on information literacy and student success. So I'm really excited that we are able to start this community and bring you these speakers and resources and professional development opportunities in the future, but mostly just to give you a platform to connect with each other and to learn from each other. I think we can all take something away from someone else's work and experience when it comes to building an information literacy program. There's no one solution out there. So I just wanted to say thank you all for being, those of you who are here who are customers of Credo, thank you. Welcome those of you who are not or joining us for the first time, and welcome to the community.
Thank you so much, Amanda. And with that, we're going to get set up to welcome our first speaker in the series. Karen Carreras-Hubbard is here today, and she will be presenting about her work at Berkshire Community College in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. And with that, Karen, I'm going to turn things over to you. Here, I'll adjust these for you, don't worry. And then you can just use, yep, oops, sorry. You can just use the arrows in the lower left. All set? Here, let me.
There we are. Okay.
Here, let me adjust it a second. We'll just use the arrows. Sorry about this. Alrighty.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, and thank you all for being here this afternoon and sharing and letting me share my experiences here at Berkshire Community College. In this new era of post-truth, when information literacy skills are crucial for a student's academic success, ways to meet their needs as well as to expand points of instruction in information literacy are just so important. I'm going to be sharing with you my experiences here and some of the challenges we have.
Karen, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
We need to have, people are having a hard time hearing you, so let's keep, yep. And could we actually have you bump up your volume?
Bump this up a bit?
Yeah,
sure.
So I'll, not that one, I'll show you how to do it. If you click on the microphone above your head, and then...
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, up here. Okay.
Yeah, yep, that head.
Like you didn't hear me before. Okay, so I'm going to be going through our particular challenges and how we met them. Let me tell you a little bit, kind of an overview. I'm going to talk about our information literacy challenges: small staff, no resources, no time. Probably sounds familiar, right? Why we chose Credo, getting faculty buy-in, how we incorporate Credo, what I call the multi-pronged approach, and introducing Credo to faculty. So let me just, I'm in a tight space here. Okay. So information literacy challenges at Berkshire Community College. BCC is located in Berkshire County, which is on the western part of Massachusetts. We have students that come from Vermont, Connecticut, and New York, as well as from Berkshire County. Those are the states that border us. We're both urban and rural. Pittsfield is a city. Actually, it's the biggest city in Berkshire County, but we're about 4 miles outside of Pittsfield proper. So we actually, if you came here on a spring day, you would hear sheep bleating because we have a farm next to us. Our students are half traditional, half non-traditional, probably a typical community college type of demographic. We have a growing international population of recent immigrants. We have also what seems to be a growing population of students with some sort of developmental need of one sort or another. So there are a lot of challenges, probably not that unusual for anyone in a community college setting. So particularly for us, some of the things we were facing were small staff, few video creation resources, no time. I was the only full-time librarian for about 15 years. So I was teaching anywhere between 65 and about 100 classes a year. And we had a part-time person in the evening, but again, a really small staff. Multimedia was a bit of a problem, trying to put it together ourselves. I created a number of videos, and I was really lucky to have a evening librarian who was just a terrific actor, and a library assistant who was also great. And so we put together a number of videos, but despite great acting technique and what I thought was a decent script, it just looked like it was homemade. I also did a number of voice threads, but the problem with that is that you constantly have to keep updating them because things kind of fall out of fall out of fashion, or templates change. And that's really hard when you're a one-person library. Assessment was kind of a bit of a challenge. We had my first NEASC here about 12 years ago. NEASC is our accrediting agency, and at that time I put together a pre and post test, which was self-grading, was online, and it was working pretty well. NEASC did like it, but over the course of a decade of using it, we had some changes in our website, and unfortunately, the test was lost and actually destroyed when we moved to a new web host. It was and to redo it was going to be a real problem in terms of my time. Also, assessment was getting a little bit difficult because of the amount of tabulating that needed to be done, and there wasn't a back-end database for it. The frameworks came to be. ACRL introduced the frameworks, which we were standards-based, which meant I was going to have to change a lot of things on my own. And we needed more product, preferably interactive components, which we just didn't have an IT department, or don't have an IT department that can support us in the creation of interactive product. Around this time, we were looking to hire another librarian, so we were finally going to have a little bit more staff, but definitely I needed to find another resource. We couldn't just keep trying to do it all ourselves. So rather than reinvent the wheel, what I hoped to do was to find something out there already in existence. So I formed an information literacy committee, and in convening that committee, our faculty had said that what they would like is they would like the frameworks. Many of the English faculty were already interested in the frameworks, so we were definitely going to go with the frameworks. And one of the suggestions was to come up with some sort of module approach where we could plug things in. Now, I think initially they were thinking it was plugging me in to different places, 20-minute sessions in places and that sort of thing. What I was thinking is, wouldn't it be great if we could do things online? But how am I going to be able to do this by myself? So I started to look into other possible products out there, and found a number of companies, Credo being one of them, and the Information Literacy Committee and myself previewed Credo as well as ProQuest, and Credo won hands down. Their assessment tools were terrific. I think faculty really liked that there were quizzes that could be put into an LMS, into the faculty's own gradebook. They prefer the concise way that Credo aligned its products to the ACRL standards and the frameworks, and to the value rubric as well. And we were impressed with the frequent updates. That was just hugely important. And in fact, they were actually updating at the time we were previewing. So it signaled that these people really are on the ball and keeping things up to date. And I was sold on the pre and the post test, because lo and behold, we have another NEASC accreditation coming up actually in 2 years. So we were doing this about 3.5, 4 years ago. So I knew that the accreditation was looming ahead, and the thought of having to redo everything myself was just kind of daunting. Why the Credo information modules were the best solution for us was they provided the multimedia and professionally creative interactive modules. They didn't look homegrown like my shot on a iPad mini videos. Um, they're frequently updated. There were built-in assessment tools that faculty could add in Moodle, because we use Moodle. Pre and post tests that the library could administer in order to measure the acquisition of information literacy skills. Modules aligned to the ACRL frameworks and standards, and an array of products that addressed all sorts of teaching issues, information literacy issues that can be used by faculty, that can be used by the library, but that can also be used by other learning professionals. One of the things I tended to walk around saying is that it takes a village to raise an information literate student. It's not just the domain of the library or the English 101 and 102 teachers. It really is across the curriculum. And if there could somehow be some sort of buy-in amongst faculty across the curriculum, as well as your tutors, your disability coordinator, your TRIO, we have a TRIO program here, amongst other people who have contact with students and can offer that learning moment and use the modules, not just within the classroom or by faculty or the librarian. So this seemed like, the perfect product. So the next challenge is outside of our information literacy committee, getting faculty buy-in. Luckily, the director of Berkshire Community College's Jonathan Edwards Library was on board with this. So that was great. So I have a great director who was all for this. Our acting vice president of academic affairs was all for this. But, faculty were going to have to use it to warrant our actually purchasing this. So the next challenge was going to get faculty buy-in. So what is our faculty like? Well, we have a lot of adjuncts. And these are folks that teach at a number of places, and they don't have a lot of time. 45% of our faculty still don't fully use the LMS. They do use it to some extent, but not everybody is fully invested in our learning management system. So it's not going to be just on Moodle. That was one of the things I came to that conclusion right away. Faculty have little time to learn new systems. And faculty sometimes, initially, there's a certain resistance with anything with technology. At least here there was. And looking at their students, there were some misconceptions, like, well, they're digital natives, they already know it all, or isn't this only the responsibility of the English department in the library? So those were some things some of the challenges that I had in getting faculty buy-in. And so one of the things I needed to think about seriously was, what is it that faculty want? Well, they wanted autonomy. They are a fiercely independent group here at BCC, and that's great. So they like to have full control of their own curriculum, and they don't always have time to bring students to the library. And they also don't have time to spend instructing students on the mechanics that they think students should have learned before. And this came to mind just a few days ago when I was advertising for our next Teach the Teacher session, and a social science faculty came by, and they were a little upset because they had just gotten their first batch of papers in, and the students were not citing things properly in APA. And she actually said to me, well, shouldn't this have been done? Shouldn't they have learned this in English 102? And the answer is no, because MLA is what's taught. But let me tell you about my, these wonderful modules that can at least begin to introduce them. And then you might want to bring your class here, and we could have a real interactive session because they're already familiar with, what APA is. She didn't really want to have to teach citations or some basic concepts about writing a paper. So, again, a way to get faculty interested in the Credo information literacy modules was to kind of present them with some of the issues that they were having and how we can solve those issues with the modules. So identifying for faculty why they should use the Credo information modules and explaining the resources that are available within them was, the next place for me to go with this. Talking with faculty about information literacy issues, we decided that we needed to communicate above and beyond, the obvious, which would be that information literacy skills are not just about Googling or commenting on a friend's Instagram. We needed to explain to them that when students lack those skills to think about information in a critical way, there can be real gaps between faculty expectations and student ability. And those gaps are not just frustrating for the faculty, they're really frustrating for the students. And frustration sometimes translates into not wanting to finish a class or a program, basically translates into possible lack of retention and can impact graduation rates. And that is a really good argument to make, especially for a small community college as we are. We're kind of we're on a little bit of the downward curve in terms of population. We're going to be going up in a few years again, but we need every student that we have. We want to retain every student that we have. So to do it every way that we can, if the modules are going to be a help to that, that would be great. And that was a good selling point for this program. Another thing is information literacy is important to every discipline, and it should be across the curriculum, and not just a single library orientation session, which we all know it's really hard to get that. To stand there for 55 minutes and try to explain everything to a batch of students that are yawning at you. So if it can be interactive to some extent, all the better. The explosion of information you hear about a lot on the internet, that plethora of information makes it hard for students to choose information. It makes it difficult for them. It's more than that, though. There seems to be more of a lack of critical thinking skills. Why? Whether it's the high stakes testing that some states have, or the loss of attention span, I'm not sure. But if you can meet students where they are and where they're comfortable, and perhaps giving them short media presentations, as there are in the Credo modules, with interactive tutorials, it's short enough to keep their attention. They'll get the main concepts, and then you can work with them after that. So I'm looking at it as an entry. That's what I kept thinking. This is kind of an entry for where we can do more for the students. Faculty, again, who normally spend time teaching their subject specialties, don't want to spend time teaching how to write a paper. So this can help them if they flip the class by including in their LMS, in our case Moodle, many of the modules or a number of the modules, or at least 2 or 3 of the modules, to kind of introduce students to some of these concepts that they somehow had escaped them at one point. They slept through it, they forgot about it, or whatever the case might be. So we had our own barriers, too, on this campus. Here in Western Massachusetts, as in many parts of the country that might be very rural, I mean, even though we have cities and all, and actually this is America's, sometimes advertised as America's kind of cultural playground. We have Tanglewood here, we have Jacob's Pillow, all sorts of cultural places. Yet we're still kind of a rural character, rural nature, lots of mountains. That's why we call it the Berkshires. It's the Berkshire Range. We're kind of the last frontier of the digital netherworld here in Massachusetts. High-speed internet has come very slow to the Berkshires, and so it was not unusual for not only students but faculty not to have that connectivity until recently. So it was a little bit cultural in terms of maybe why it's taken us so long to have a more robust LMS. We started with Blackboard and now we have Moodle, and it's getting much better. But part of it was just we didn't have the high-speed internet here that you might have had in Central Mass or in the Boston area. So that was one of the things. Another kind of barrier is our own LMS did not allow for faculty using Moodle to have access to something like a Credo administrative page. That was something that was decided by academic technology that would not work for us. So what I had to do is come up with a way to make all those LTI links, the links that you use in an LMS, to make them accessible to the faculty. And so what I did was I kind of reconstructed what Credo has created, and you'll see it in a second, to make it really, really easy for our faculty to be able to go into Moodle and just pull out those links and just plug them right into their own Moodle pages, turn on editing, and so forth. As so many of our faculty and even some of our adjunct faculty and some of our full-time faculty still aren't using Moodle fully, we needed to also come up with other ways for them to use Credo. And not just put it on the A to Z list, because it's probably not going to get used if you just put it on the A to Z list. So I wanted the modules to be available to non-teaching faculty as well as to our adjuncts. And so that was another thing. So LibGuides seemed like the obvious place to do that, and also to make it available to students who might benefit from it outside of a particular class. Maybe they're self-starters, they get here, they want to learn all about it, or outside of a class assignment. The other thing is that because we're a public institution, we're mandated by the state of Massachusetts to make available on campus, within the library, all of our databases, whether it's Films on Demand, EBSCO, or Credo Information Literacy modules. So as kind of a recruiting tool, we have high school students that sometimes come here. Perhaps they're on an orientation of BCC. They might think of coming here. If we can show them this, maybe that will be another reason why they might want to come here. So, even using it a little bit as a, recruiting tool, because they are free to come here when, during after school. Of course, they can't access it from home because it's licensed and it's through Easy Proxy. But again, as many multiple uses of it as possible, we've tried to find. So how we incorporated Credo, that multi-pronged approach, and I'll show you. Using Credo with Moodle, and I'm presuming other LMSs. We started with Blackboard, but it's been quite a while since I've been on Blackboard, and I'm not sure about Edmodo, but if anyone out there is, you can see if this is anything similar to what you're dealing with. In collaboration with our academic technology department and its director, Lauren Goodman, and her assistant, Janet Collins, I created the faculty Moodle page. It's a toolbox. Faculty will sign in. And what I did was I took a look at Credo, at the way they organize. They have a couple of ways of organizing their material. And following that, getting started with research, like the evaluation, I turned them into chapters. And what a faculty member does is they open up the chapter, and then they are able to extract the LTI links, and as I said, put it into their own. Try to make it real simple. We have instructions all over the place on this. I'm hoping that you can see this screen because it does look a little small on my, it's not fully wide open, but let's see. So here's an example. Each chapter includes learning objectives, which I took from the Credo. Credo has wonderful resources that you can use and you could plug in, lesson plans. And then we added the instructions for adding links and quizzes. And the module links themselves. And each chapter is organized, so it repeats itself. So, if you happen to look at the evaluation one and then you go to one on citations, it's going to tell you the same information about how to incorporate this into a Moodle page. Each section has links to where the video can be viewed on top of it, because in Moodle, at least, if you click an LTI link, it's not going to open up the video. So instead, I also included, an actual area where you can see what the modules look like. And I also annotated them. So for those that are basic and that you probably want to include, or one probably would want to include, I did note that. I have also sent out to faculty, individual faculty, these are the 4 top basic modules that we think would be best for your class from what you tell me your needs are. So that way they're not going through them all, because I think that could be daunting. 60 modules, interactive videos, and tutorials. I can't expect my faculty to go through 60 to determine what they want and what they don't want. So helping them along with that, and giving them these 5 are great for citation and evaluation. Here's a batch for 2 for citation and 2 for evaluation and 1 for the research process. I mean, I just did that for a sociology professor. I gave him 5 that I think you need in your class. And he was real happy. And then he went to Janet Collins, who is, again, works with faculty with Moodle, and she helped him plug them in. He had gone to one of our teach-to-teacher sessions, but sometimes you need to, kind of hold hands a little bit, a little hand-holding on incorporating it into the LMS. And he's using it. And that's wonderful, because that's what we need. We need people to use this. In some cases, Berkshire Community College specific information is included. For instance, with the citation and academic integrity module, I included Berkshire Community College's plagiarism policy, so that it's there. Not all faculty members were familiar with it, so if they're concerned about academic integrity, they should know about our policy as well. And here it is, right there with the modules, so that they can refer to it if they needed to. I also included a chapter with ready-made flipped sessions, and I think we're going to be doing a lot more of these. We did this for English 101 and 102, but you can do more, and you can incorporate the modules in there for faculty. I try to make sure they didn't go longer than a half an hour, so it's like a homework assignment. So they could plug that or have their students sign into it, and that's fine. The student gets to watch the videos and do those exercises if they want. Also the pre and the post test, which is going to be really useful when our NEASC accreditation comes up. So that takes care of Moodle. So what about everybody else? Well, we created 2 separate LibGuides, one for faculty and professional educators, and another for students. And right now, our brand new librarian, Andrea Robert, is working on a 3rd for students, and actually for anybody, that is just more or less quick links. The student LibGuide is a little bit is organic. It's kind of the way they would write a paper, but it's a little bit more wordy. It not only includes the Credo information literacy modules, but there's some explanation to what they're looking at and what is a primary source, what is a secondary source, maybe a line or 2, or what is a Credo information literacy module, an explanation to what that is. But once I think students are familiar enough with it, they might just want to go somewhere quick and just see, gee, do they have something for Turabian, a citation guide. And so that's what we're creating right now, is a place where we'll also include some of our database created, like EBSCO created tutorials and that sort of thing. So everything is in one place. So again, everywhere you can stick the module, that's where we're going to be sticking it, including in our individual subject guides for music or for whatever subject. We'll be putting these in. We're in the process of that right now. So anyway, so we created the one for faculty and professional educators and the other one for students, and we're doing the 3rd. And these can be viewed on campus without any authentication, and then off campus through the Easy Proxy server. From our library play page, the faculty is located right underneath our Facebook app, and it's basically faculty information literacy resource page. And what I did with that is I made it look, I followed the same organization that we had for the Moodle page for faculty. And again, this is mostly for people that don't use Moodle or that want to pull something up right in their class real quick. And then the student, right now, help with research is the student guide. And again, we'll have another one that is probably going to be called quick tutorials, something like that. The faculty information literacy guide looks like this. Real simple, and each has all of the headings. It has all of the interactive tutorials. It has the modules, lesson plans. What it's missing are the quizzes, because chances are people that are using this are not using Moodle, so therefore the quizzes aren't in there. And so that's for the faculty page. And then the student guide, as I mentioned, is a bit more organic. It kind of follows the process of writing, beginning with, picking the topic and finding background information and so forth. And then ending more with the writing process and that. Here's another page. This one is evaluating materials. So there's some discussion, a little bit of discussion about primary and secondary sources, along with the actual tutorials themselves and the video modules. So the next thing is introducing Credo to the campus and going about that. I was doing a lot of putting this together. I was kind of stuck home for about 2 months with a foot that was recovering from some surgery, so this was the perfect project. And when I got out around October, when I was finally coming back, I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to get all the faculty to see this. I mean, I'm sending them emails, but we need to actually get them in here. So we started the Teach the Teacher sessions, and they were very successful. Faculty were really interested in coming to this. And, you know, the come on was your students arrive on campus lacking research and information skills, and you don't have the class time to address the problem. What do? You know, you plug things in from the Credo information literacy modules. That's kind of basically where we wanted to lead them. So we held a batch of Teach the Teacher sessions in the fall. We also did a presentation at our Academic Affairs, which is a gathering every month of faculty, mostly full-time faculty because it's in the day, but some part-time faculty and adjuncts. And we did a academic minute, which actually was 7 minutes. They gave us a long minute, and we introduced it there. We'll be doing that again probably in the fall, and we are currently actually right now I'm booking for people to come in for the next Teach the Teacher sessions starting next Monday. And food is at everything. And I've got a whole batch of people coming next week and the week after. Faculty members as well as people from our tutorial staff, disabilities coordinator. So it's just great that, you know, people from other areas on campus are interested in this. So how are we doing so far? Positive response from faculty. I've got English faculty using it in class, both embedding in Moodle as well as people using it during their class time. Environmental studies, that was something. That was a real big surprise. Social science faculty and are using it in Moodle, as well as faculty using it outside of Moodle. And tutors, tutorial. Criminal justice, sociology, mathematics. That was exciting. Non-teaching faculty and staff, including tutors, our TRIO professionals attended the sessions, and we got a really enthusiastic response because, you know, they're stakeholders too. Full support from administration, our acting dean and our acting vice president, rather, and deans. And with the anticipation of NEAS coming up, I just talked to some of the folks that are kind of one of the people that's very involved with the back end statistics and this accreditation, and they're very, very happy. In fact, they said they were really happy I was doing this session, and they're very happy with where we're going with this because assessment is everything with at least NEASC. And so as many ways that you can show that you're assessing, whether it's the library doing it with the pre and the post test, or whether faculty are doing it within individually in their Moodle pages, that's important. So again, moving forward with this. Making Credo a success at your campus, as I see for our experience, make it available in as many ways as possible. Don't just put it on an A to Z list because it can get lost there. We have 60 databases, so it can get lost there. And I thought, you know, again, it's very, very valuable. And for a small community college, I think we're the smallest in the Commonwealth, or next to the smallest. We have less than 975 full-time students. Getting as much bang for our buck is really, really important, and we need to show that. So again, putting it in as many places as possible. If there are restrictions to allowing faculty to use your admin, Credo admin, then recreate it in your LMS like we did it. And actually, it's so easy the way we set it up. Faculty don't have to worry about anything other than copying and pasting and putting it in. Creating LibGuide sites that incorporate the Credo modules is also really valuable. Not all faculty use an LMS. Also for, again, as I said, just walk-ins that come in here, that come into the library. And then for those people, the faculty and students that are authenticate through EasyProxy, it's really simple. Remember that modules are not only for faculty, and I can't stress that enough. but to other learning professionals such as your college tutors. Don't forget to include easy access for students who might want to use the modules independently on their own. Credo informational literacy modules can also be put in the A to Z database. I mean, we did put it there, but that's probably where it gets the least use. Offer teach the teacher sessions, and do that frequently, and work with, collaborate with, your academic technology department. Use those Credo modules as kind of an entree to students coming in. I find labs to be so much more productive for students with hands-on kind of exercises, but it's really helpful if stuff has been front-ended beforehand. So either having or hoping that faculty have flipped their classes, or providing the links so that the faculty can give it to students, or tell students, even if they needed to go to the LibGuides page and look at these modules before you come to the library. Then we can make the classes so much more interactive, because I don't have to explain all that stuff. And actually, I found the modules really did it to fairly well. Looking ahead for Credo and Berkshire Community College, I wrote up a proposal in November. We have a conference. It's sort of the biggest thing that we have for community colleges, public community colleges in the Commonwealth, and it occurs every April. It's a teaching and learning and student development conference, and all 15 community colleges participate, so the faculty and learning professionals attend as well as staff. And they're coming here. Actually, it's the first time we've ever held it here. Again, we're sort of like the empty quarter. We're like way out there somewhere. But hopefully all those community colleges from Boston, the Boston area, will be coming here, and we're going to be introducing them to the Credo information literacy modules. I'm really looking forward to doing that, because hopefully then, if more people are using it within the state, we can share information on techniques and what we're doing with it. Because right now, again, we're still kind of by our onesie out here. It's myself and Andrea that are doing this. So that's where we're going with that. So I don't know if you have any questions. I would love to hear from you. And thank you so much for attending this. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. We do have a few questions, and the rest of you can continue to add your questions to the chat, and we will queue them up for Karen. But Henrietta Verma asked, do you have any tips, Karen, on attracting faculty to teach the teacher sessions that cover the library?
Well, basically, what I did individual target marketing. Individual mailings to each faculty member. So my background was actually in kind of marketing. I used to work in performing arts, and so marketing was really important. So what I did was I sent out an individual letter to each faculty inviting them. And I find that that's a heck of a lot more successful than sending out the general letter to all faculty. Those all faculty emails. You could also group people together. You could did that in the fall. All of the environmental studies faculty, and well, I did it in half and half. So 3 of them would get an email. But if you can do that, that might also be helpful. The other thing is go to faculty. If you walk around, do house calls and visit. Now, we're a small college, so if you're in a really big place, you may have to work with other librarians. Maybe your subject specialists, if you're in a bigger institution, can individually meet with faculty, or go to a faculty departmental meeting and talk about it a little bit, and do the invite there. I don't know if that helps a little bit.
Excellent. The marketing piece is really interesting, and I would bet that that's one where people just absolutely love tips. You said that you sent individual emails to faculty. Does that mean you had a faculty list and you did like a mail merge and had a customized email? Like, what did the email say? Was it designed to feel very casual, like, hi, I'd love to meet with you, or like, what did you say in the email?
Well, I started with a basic email, and then what I would do is, so some of them were very much personalized to the faculty member involved. Again, we're small, so I'm going to know we have like 60, 65 full-time faculty, and I don't have an exact number for adjuncts. But doing it that way, saying something that's going to sound like I'm really directing it to you, so that it's not just a
Sure.
form letter. I guess that's what
Yep.
you want to get away from, is the form letter. And again, going to something like academic affairs, different schools have different types of committees like that, or groups that come together. Going to to a departmental meeting is another thing. I'm working right now. I had worked a little bit with the English, the head of our English department. She went ahead and sent out an email on top of it. And this week, one of our deans, actually a number of our deans, not just Dean of Humanity, but also a number of our other deans, have sent out emails mirroring kind of what I said, because I let them know what I was doing. So they went ahead and sent out emails to their divisions. Oh, by the way, the library is doing this. So that kind of thing. Again, you just keep building. Think of a pyramid. You start with a base. You want to keep building as many contact points, and it's going to be slow. It's not going to happen
Sure.
overnight. It's going to be slow at first. But again, telling them that this in the long run is going to save you time, because otherwise you're correcting papers and getting frustrated by what you see. And again, this might be helpful if you just plug these. No sweat, no huge effort to put this into your Moodle. It's easy.
So Karen, Laurel asked a question that I wondered about when you were presenting about the LibGuides. Is it correct that those are posted publicly? Like,
Oh yeah. Well, they look like they're public, but if you click on them, they better not immediately go to unless you happen to subscribe. I don't know if that would make a difference, but there is an easy proxy. Okay, so there are two types of links. The LTI links, which you use in Moodle, and then there's another kind of link which you can add your easy proxy prefix to. So our students have to log in to get into, whether it's a database or whether it's Credo information literacy modules. And hopefully that is working.
So Cheryl just posted this link, which is accessible to me. And so does that, Laurel, give you what you need? Does that give you access to the LibGuides? It looks like it does. Yep. Okay. Wonderful. Great. And does that sound right to you, Karen?
So she should not be able to get onto it without having to sign in, unless she happens to
I
have...
see. So you can see the initial page, but when you try to click in, because the real question that Laurel asked is it possible to view the LibGuides that you created that you share with your faculty? Like, would you be willing to share those, or are those proprietary?
Oh, okay. I'm a little confused. Do you mean actually that somebody's getting into a video? That's what I was asking the question, because they're not.
Sorry about that. Laurel's very interested in the LibGuides and wondering, like, would it be possible to use those?
Oh, sure, definitely. I actually got an email earlier today from someone who had seen it through Credo, and they asked me, can I duplicate this? And I said, fine. Do whatever you want. That's fine. Librarians love to share.
It's a wonderful thing.
And so, by all means, please.
So, but I guess I'm still unclear. So, how would Laurel or anyone else access your LibGuides?
Well, I guess what I can do is should I click on this to see what she's got?
Sure.
I'm afraid to. Okay, let me just see what happens here. Because it should be available. Yeah, that's it. That's one of them. Yeah, it's one of the pages. If you go to Berkshire Community College, the other way is to go to Berkshire Community College and get on the library page. You'll see our LibGuides. You could click on that. You could click on the faculty toolbox, which is over there on the left, which is in the PowerPoint. I don't know if you want me to try to go back to it and point to it.
You can, yeah.
So you can see. Yeah, maybe that'll help. Okay, so there it is. I don't know how big this is on your screen, but if you go to BCC, Berkshire Community College, go down to the bottom and click Library, that'll take you here. This is our only actual library webpage, because we used to have hundreds, but we do mostly everything on LibGuides now, because I have more control over it. And so if you click under the Facebook, that should take you to our LibGuides, which anybody could go to any of our LibGuides pages. That's fine. And if you want to take the ideas and, that's
Excellent.
fine. It's perfectly okay. What you're going to have to do, though, is that if you subscribe to Credo Information Literacy the modules, our link is not going to work probably for you. You're going to have to put your own easy proxy prefix on it in order for it to work for you. But you want to make sure that it has that, because it's not open to everybody. It's open only to those people that can authenticate. So at your institution, however you authenticate through your easy proxy or whatever, which way you do it, that you want to make sure that you use that. Now, if you're using the Credo modules and you go into admin, you're going to want to go into not the LTI links, but there's another set of links that they give you, it's the same kind of organization, and you want to use those links. I know when I was doing this with FootUp in a cast, at one point I was like going crazy. I had all these screens. I have a big computer at home. I actually have a couple of them. And I was doing both the Moodle pages and the LibGuides pages. And there were times when I would confuse the links. And I would try to get onto something. And it was like, oh, darn, I put the LTI link in the wrong place. And I meant to do, So just keep your links straight when you're doing it. Maybe do Moodle or Blackboard one day and then do your LibGuides page the other, so you don't accidentally cross your link.
Absolutely. Yes. We do have a couple more questions. So Henrietta asked, have faculty tipped over into using these for flipped instruction? Are they open to that?
Yes. In fact, environmental. I'm going to be presenting. One of the people I'm presenting with is an environmental studies faculty member who actually has embedded a number, not embed, because we don't like to embed for some reason on our LMS, but rather has put the link in for a number of modules. You can embed also. You can also do an embed video, which is another thing that Credo allows you to do, but we do the link. So he has put that into his class, and he's going to be talking about that, whereas I also have an English faculty member that's going to be talking about using the LibGuides, because she prefers to use it, the LibGuides, use them in class and refer students to them. So it's like two different approaches, and we're going to be covering that at the conference. But yes, we do have faculty members. The sociology professor is doing it. There's a number of faculty members that are doing it, and it's a growing number, and hopefully after the next 2 weeks there'll be many
Wonderful.
more.
Oh, we'll have to get an update from you about that. And I think we have covered the majority of the questions. Let me know if anyone has any others. I have one that I wondered about as you were presenting. I'm curious to know, Karen, what kind of feedback have you gotten from faculty? So since you have set this up, you've provided them with the resources in a really easy to use way, what are they saying? Like, what are they seeing in their classrooms? What kind of behaviors are they seeing in their students?
Well, it's really kind of new, and it's pretty early on. Now, I know the English faculty member, Juliana, does like it, and she used it all last semester. Actually, she used it before because she was. We've kind of had them available for about a year, but we've only kind of organized it as it is now in the last 4 months, 5 months. She likes it because it's working for her in her class, and it's working for her and with her students. There's the fake news, there's evaluating sources. She really likes those. And so they have been helpful to her teaching, and I know that. It's still a little early to be able to gauge how well we are doing, overall. I'm going to say, come back to me in a year. But we're already, I could tell you with the pre and the post test, we're already getting results from that, and that we're going to be using for NEASC. And so, again, I'm really hopeful that this is, it's much better already than what I was expecting. I mean, again, I wasn't sure if anyone was going to look at this. I really didn't know, and people are using it, and I could see the use. So, I could see the use in terms of the pre and the post test, and the feedback that I've gotten is that faculty are working with our AT department. That's how I know, and asking questions to them as well as asking questions to me. Again, what's really useful is if you came up with a list of the most pertinent, like I did with the sociology professor, for a particular class. that could be really helpful too. I mean, you really have to go to your faculty too. I mean, it's you can't just send an email out. That's one email is not
Yep.
going to do it. You know, you have to keep
Yep.
at them.
I like that you said that you used your skills in marketing, and I think that's a really good point. In terms of getting people to take action, it often does take many attempts. So great to hear. A couple more questions have come in. Paula is wondering, how easy is it to customize the material from Credo?
Okay, I did that with our pre and the post test. I haven't done it much with the modules, but with the pre and the post test, my original pre and post test was one test. It wasn't two separate tests. And if you look at it, they kind of they have slightly different questions, and the questions. So what I wanted is I wanted just a single test that was a little bit tweaked to our culture, because some of the language in the pre-test didn't quite work for our community college. It might work at at a university, Case Western or University of the Pacific, or I'm trying to think of some of the big places that have this have the Credo Information Literacy modules. But for us, I had to make the language a little easier for them, or at least give a definition, because even if they watched the module, I still want to make sure that they knew what I was talking about with the pre and the post test. And it was really easy to do. I worked with Credo, and they actually, you could do it yourself, and you could work with Credo. Credo will also do some tweaking for you. So it wasn't difficult. Now, the actual modules themselves, there is there may be some things that you can tweak. Some of them, I believe it is for a. You want to talk to Credo. Those I haven't gone there. There may be some things that there may be cost involved with. So that I'm not as familiar with, because we haven't gone there. But with the pre and the post test, there was no problem with that at all.
Excellent. And I just wanted to let you guys know, so I have a private question. So Elizabeth, I'll get back to you very shortly. And then Ellen shared feedback, which is really wonderful. She said she wanted to respond to that question about customization. She said the Credo tutorials and quizzes are easy to customize. She'd like to be able to record a different voiceover for some of the videos, and that's not possible. But aside from that, very easy to customize. So, well, I wanted to invite all of you to continue this conversation in the InfoLit learning community. We started this follow-up discussion, so if people have additional questions, you can, questions, comments, thoughts, work samples, tips, you can go ahead and include those there. And you're all welcome to continue to use the InfoLit learning community as a resource. If any of you have questions for Credo specifically about the InfoLit modules, definitely reach out. You can post to the discussion thread, and we can connect you to Amanda and her team, and they would be happy to provide demos or answer questions. And I want to thank you all for joining us. I hope that you will join us next time. Our next session is coming up on Thursday, March 8th at 2 p.m. It'll be the same format, where we'll have you log in a few minutes early to get set up, and then our session will run for about an hour. This one is focused specifically on how to implement the framework for information literacy within the classroom, with classroom faculty. So our speakers are Dave Harmeyer and Janice Baskin. They were here today in the chat. I don't know if they're still here, but they will be presenting on March 8th, so we hope to see you then. So with that, we'll say goodbye to Karen. Thank you so much for joining us today. Great presentation. And thank you, Karen.